All right. Hi, Lee. Greetings from India. This is Pooja Talwar, and I'm a huge fan of your books.
Well, thank you very much. It's great to see you.
So, do you realize the series could carry on for another 24 seasons?
I hope so. And I think that actually, don't forget, while we do those 24 seasons, there will be more books coming out. So we can do maybe 20, 30, 40. Let's carry on forever. I'm loving it so far. So, yeah, I would love to see dozens more.
I think, Jack Reacher is like an immortal. He's like an immortal real life hero.
He is. And I think that comes from the fact that people want that kind of hero. And every culture invents the same character, the person that will show up and solve your problem and move on. Every country has that somewhere in its narrative history because people love that. They want that. They crave it. Everybody has a problem of some kind, hopefully not very serious. Some people do have serious problems. And wouldn't it be great if one day a strong, silent person shows up at your door, solves your problem, and moves on? People dream about that.
I would want him by my side. But, the fact is, first, Tom Cruise immortalized him on screen, and now you have Alan, who's done such a fabulous job. So when these two actors when you saw them, were they the Reacher that you had crafted in your mind?
I think that the key difference between the movie and the television really is the running time. That on the streaming season, we have so much time to tell the story that we can have the light and the shade and the fast and the slow. And but it means that the actor is on the screen for that much longer. So the choice was very, very important. And it was a strange casting process, actually, because we did it during the pandemic, where normally we would all get together in a room and do it like that. But we couldn't do that. We all had to do it by Zoom, which felt weird, except actually it was a great way to do it because that is all the viewer is ever going to see, the actor on the screen. And so we were judging on the same basis. And I decided I would judge it by the first 1 second, because what I wanted is an actor that would step on the screen and just own it and command it and be Reacher without doing anything, without saying anything, just the presence. And Alan Ritchson was that person straight away. He's very comfortable with not talking, which is actually perfect for Reacher, but very rare for actors. But he was very cool with that. And so everything about him just said, yeah, this is the man. This is the person we want. And we feel very lucky to have him. And I think the viewers agree.
Awesome. Did you feel the same way about Tom Cruise as well?
Well, Tom was, I think Tom is a great actor. And he had the internal part of Reacher really good. But the physicality is important to Reacher. Reacher is a huge, scary-looking man, so that if he steps into the room, everybody's a little nervous. And I thought that Alan commanded that much better on the screen, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting, you started writing him on the anniversary of when you quit, the broadcast. So was it somewhere that it was catharsis and where you could just let out everything that you were feeling in creating this character who's now become so iconic?
I think that's a great word, feeling, because a lot of people say, write what you know. And that is really bad advice because nobody knows enough to make an exciting story. Virtually nobody has ever done anything that exciting. But you've got to write what you feel. What scares you? What excites you? What turns you on? What repels you? Just do it on feelings. And so, yeah, I was very aware that I could not specify it too much. You can't make a shopping list of things that you feel you ought to do. You've just got to close your eyes and tell the story and see what comes out. And in my case, Reacher came out. And I was a little worried at first. I thought, is anybody going to like this man? Because, he's homeless. He never changes his clothes. He felt like a strange proposition, but happily everybody did like him.
awesome. And we are, what, 27 books old and many, many more to come. But in this particular season, they're adapting your 11th book, Bad Luck and Trouble. And Alan felt that it was perfect. He apparently has read all of them. So what's your take on it? And also as a writer, do you have any say in the creative process? Because sometimes writers just get a little, I would say, possessive about their work being translated. And cinema, they do take a lot of liberties.
Well, the possessive thing is you should never feel like that, because really the whole point of writing a book is to let go of the character. Because well before you've ever thought about a movie or a television, you've got readers, and the reader owns the character by that point. Reacher belongs to the reader. The ownership migrates outward from the author to the reader. So you get very used to other people owning the character, other people having an opinion. I've sometimes been on a plane or in a restaurant and overheard conversations about Reacher, other people talking about him, their view, their opinion. And that's really all that the film or television does. It's somebody else's opinion, somebody else's version, and you've already given the character away. So I'm totally comfortable with it. And people say, oh, they're going to make changes. Well, yes, they are, because you have to. You can't just put the page on the screen. There's all kinds of changes that have to be made. And so I'm totally comfortable with the idea other people have an interest in Reacher, other people have an ownership stake, and other people have their view of how to do it. And I'm a fan. I just watch them do it. I love watching people do things well. And that's what we're celebrating here, is a great crew, a great cast, and they've turned in a fantastic product that makes me look good. So I'm really happy.
It does. And also the fact when you started writing him, was there someone in mind? Because, usually you do draw inspiration from your environment. And was there someone or something that made you say that was the beginning of, say, this legacy that, you have now?
Well, it's a good question, because you would imagine there must be somebody like that that's made an effect on me. But I can't think of anybody in particular. So I think what it is a kind of mixture of lots of different people that I've met, their characteristics. For instance, I knew one guy who was a heavyweight boxer, and not a particularly good one, as a matter of fact, not a champion or anything, but a big, strong man that lived on a different plane than the rest of us, just a different physical type of person. So I think he was probably part of it. And then my dad, who had been in the army in World War II, the military mindset that I had learned from him. There's probably a dozen different influences that goes into Reacher.
And India, are you familiar with Indian authors, Indian movies, anything about our country?
I'm very familiar, yeah. Because I'm from Britain, and there's a large Indian diaspora in Britain, and second generation people who have been reading English all their lives. There's a lot of great Indian writers in Britain and in the US, as a matter of fact. And so it's one of those populations that spreads outwards and is very industrious, very hardworking, and very talented. And if the talent comes in the writing world, then they're fantastic. Yeah.
So where do we go from here now? What more adventures lie ahead of Reacher? Are you planning on something? If you could just,
Well, of course, from my point of view, I hope that we do a season every couple of years for the entire rest of history. And there's plenty more books to choose from. So we're going to be, as long as the viewer is happy, then we would love to supply season after season. And it's our job to keep the viewer happy and create that demand. And so, yeah, there's lots of books to choose from. The hard thing is which book, which story is going to be good when it comes out next year. So that's always the first decision, which book, and then off we go.
And lastly, being an author yourself, your favorite book of all time?
My favorite book of all time? Oh gosh, I would honestly say Sophie's Choice is my favorite book of all time, because it's a sort of I have a saying that if you're only going to read 5 books in your life, make it Sophie's Choice, because it really is 5 books all in one. There's so many layers to that story. So I think that is that's probably my answer. But I live in hope that the book I read tomorrow will become my favorite book. There's so much good stuff out there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Such a pleasure speaking to you, and happy holidays.
Thank you so much.